Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 9 of the Game Changers. Episode 9. I mean, who knew we'd make it this long? It's a great day. I'm so excited. Episode 9. Carla and I would like to thank the Sports Affiliation for providing us with this platform, along with all the support that we get from JC, Iggy, and the entire TSA crew. If you haven't already, please hop out of the video, give us a like, give us a subscription. That would be wonderful if you haven't already. Thank you to some of our sponsors and our partners, which would be Better Vision and Fantasy Football Advice Network. They're all doing really great things. I will say that on Better Vision, you can download the app, but only in the Apple Store right now. But they are working. I'm not an Apple person. I'm not allowed to have an iPhone. I'm still the old Android, but Fantasy Football Advice Network, I do have that one, and that is downloadable on both. So thank you for joining us tonight. And Carla, would you please take the floor and introduce our guest?
Of course. Tonight we have Howard Bender. How are you tonight, Howard? He is a 20-plus year veteran of the fantasy sport industry, and he's currently the head of content and president of operations to fantasyalarm.com. He's a writer, host, and so much more. Even though I've never met Howard personally yet, I can't wait to get to know him a little bit more tonight. He is a true game changer in the fantasy football industry. How are you tonight, Howard?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I appreciate that very much. I hope I live up to the hype.
Oh,
you absolutely will. You already have. We're even showing up. Hey, we're excited you even came.
Hi, Susan.
Real quick, I do want to mention, because Howard, one of our very own family members, has a birthday today. So we have to give special birthday wishes to Scott Frankel.
Oh, happy birthday.
I did the obligatory Facebook post. Do I have to private message him also and give him a shout out?
I know, but we have to do it because he is part of the family. And by the way, guess who's in first place in the old family division that I'm in for the football league?
It's not me.
No, it's not, because it's me.
Ooh.
Go Wendi.
It's been so much fun. Everybody over there at Fantasy Alarm is wonderful. So, but when I first met you, I was nervous going to the expo. I wanted to kind of tell how I met you. I had seen you. We'd been on a couple of podcasts not podcasts, but some live drafts and stuff. And you did let us come on the show, Michael Sullivan and I, about the Battle of the Sexes. So we kind of knew what each other looked like. But when I'm walking up to the DoubleTree, first of all, I am so scared. I'm just like, I'm like, I didn't think I was going to know anyone. And I'm like, God, I'm just like this Lone Ranger. I don't know if I should be here. And as I'm walking up, I hear, Wendi Early. And I'm like, holy shit, that's Howard Bender. Howard Bender knows my name. He knows who I am. Are you kidding me? And instantly, I felt welcome. And it was so great ever since then. And we actually got to spend a lot of time at the expo. We had our brunch. We stayed at the bar with some of your family fantasy alarm crew. And one thing I did notice is when I met you, you look a little bit different from when I met you. So I believe that you've got a little bit of a health journey that you're on, and I've noticed it, and I wanted to commend you. So tell us about that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know if it's not so much a health journey as much as it was like a look in the mirror, journey, right? Like, I mean, when I'm like walking around, I'm like, like in the bedroom, and I'm like walking from the bed to the bathroom, and I've got no shirt on. And my wife is sitting there and she's looking at me, and I'm just like, I'm sorry. I don't know how it got like this. It all just kind of got away from me, and I'm not really sure. And so, I kind of just got to that point. And I mean, I'm not like doing anything, because like I should be exercising, but I'm not. I'm just basically I'm eating like plain grilled chicken and vegetables and that's my meal, and I'm not screwing around with like all the sugary deliciousness that I miss so much.
Oh, absolutely.
Ah,
We're all doing that, Howard. I need to put you into Zumba some way.
into
Yeah,
Zumba. I mean, the funny thing is like, and if I had somebody who would like just be like, okay, you're exercising right now, like that's it, just stop what you're doing and do this right now, I would do it.
yeah,
But I don't have that like person who like, comes over and tells me that you have to do it. And if like my wife was like, oh, you should go out for a walk right now, I'd be like, working, sorry, can't talk right now.
She
Breaking
should
news.
hold your hand and let's go for a walk.
Oh,
Let's go for a walk.
well, I mean, some obviously working though, I know I had my doctor actually said, "Hey, do you have diabetes yet?" And I was like, "Yet? Excuse me." This lady, it's no holds barred with this doctor. Okay, and when she said that, I was like, maybe I'm a little overweight. So I ended up, I am diabetic. And so I cut everything that I loved in life pretty much out, but I lost 85 pounds and I've kept it off for about 7 years now. So I don't eat a lot of the pastas and the carbs and stuff, and it sucks to give that stuff up. It really does. But I feel better. I feel healthier. So, I know what you're going through about, trying to make those changes. It's so easy just to go drive through and get the fast food.
and I'm one of those people who likes to eat my feelings too. So when I'm stressed out, I will like gorge, and I used to. So yeah, I mean, I'm trying. It's not. I have no idea how much weight I've lost or anything like that because I started doing this probably like late July, early August is when it like really happened. And like all of a sudden, like you drop like that first like 10 pounds or whatever. And like, and then that's where it's like, all of a sudden it's like kind of noticeable. And I think I was there for, probably at the expo, like, I guess maybe I started a little bit earlier than that, but, just, I'm fitting into, now that I'm fitting into some of those shirts where I've always been like, man, I really love this shirt. I wish maybe one day I'll fit back into this, like that kind of a thing. So, I'm picking out like new shirts and stuff like that, which, I mean, I guess the clothes are probably like 10 years old and completely out of style, but maybe they're retro.
No, they're coming back in style. That's the way it works, right?
Sweet. This members only jacket is going to be key.
Well, I think with me, I kind of use my belt loop as, I could tell that it was getting, I'm like, oh, hey, I'm able to use a different belt loop,
Right.
But yeah, so keep it up. I'm really, really proud of you. I mean, I even sent you that message because I'm like, dude, I'm noticing that. And it means a lot, to get that support. So good job.
Definitely does.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My friend Susan is going through this right now as well. She was saying congratulations to you,
Thank
Wendi,
you.
too.
man.
And she lost so much weight. I went through this journey too, having my 3 kids and everything, but I found Zumba. So that's why I'm telling you, Howard, Zumba.
All right.
Hey, Carla's going to do a Zumba class at the expo, Howard.
Yes. Are you going to come over and do some Zumba?
I don't want to be that guy who's like, yeah, absolutely, and then doesn't.
You
So
should.
you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, I'll do the best I can. Maybe.
Yes, that's what's that's what matters. You said that you need someone to tell you let's go, so I'm gonna be that one that's gonna tell you let's go.
You're hired, Carla. Thank you.
So I became a Zumba instructor so I can go, because if I'm not teaching, I'm not gonna be there. So that's part of my journey. That's why I do it.
That.
Yeah, trust me. We all want to sit and just like do nothing, especially after a long day of teaching.
Well, it's amazing, right? Oh, you're a teacher. Where are you teaching? What do you teach?
I teach world language. I teach at New Haven public schools.
Like what age group?
High school. Or high school.
They're probably really mean. I don't know if I can handle going to high school again. Holy cow.
And it's changed since we were in high school, Howard.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, please. I was having a conversation today with my producers, and apparently, like kids who go to like school now, like like elementary school, whatever, like their parents put like money into like a lunch account, and the kids just like that's how they get their like. I used to be like, hey dad, can I get $5 so I get some lunch today? Right, so I get like a slice of like frozen pizza. And I hear like the process right now, and like I guess it was the Michelle Obama meal program for kids at school and stuff like that. That like Shannon, my producer, was like, she was a part of that program, and she was telling me about it. I'm like, I'm just amazed. Like, yeah, I don't know where I got so old or how it all happened, but
Oh, some schools they serve sushi, Howard.
sushi
I'm
in
not
high
kidding you.
school, junior high,
Yes,
come on, really?
yes. Ice cream, sushi, salad bar. Yep, yep,
Right? Because
yep.
it
If you come
sounds
to
like that's
farming
what you want.
public schools, you will have some.
It sounds like that's what you want, right? Like you're good sitting there in the middle of high school, so you're gonna mix a lot of dairy with sushi. Like,
And
what could possibly go wrong?
chopsticks.
No, I wanted the square pizza. I wanted the square pizza.
Right? Sicilian style. You mean frozen style? Come on.
I guess that would be a rectangle, but you know what I mean.
The hot
Yeah,
pockets is the
absolutely.
best.
Absolutely. Crazy what it is now. Damn.
Howard, I know that we were talking about you and that you are a writer as well. What Tell me a little bit about something that you wanted to do for a while, and what's your source of inspiration, and how do you know what to write for your for the people that see your writings and stuff like that.
So everything right now, and because it's all sports related and fantasy football and fantasy baseball related, it's all, I mean, the topics now are all kind of, it's what's topical. It's kind of funny the way I fell into all of this. So I went to college in pre-law, and I dropped out of pre-law and I majored in theater. I
Wow.
did theater and stand up, and I was, in New York, and I was, trying to make it as an actor, but that just loosely means, I was like, I was tending bar for a while in New York, and some auditions, some projects, some, open mic nights and late nights and stuff like that. And, just trying all of that. And it just, it just kind of got to me after a while. It's really kind of funny. Like, I'm 52 right now, and this didn't really like start for me until I was like close to 30. I think I was probably 30 when like that happened, where I just I was just I got out of the business of, I was still tending bar, but I got out of like the acting and the comedy circuit and stuff like that. I got out of that, and was just kind of figuring things out. I was playing this rotating poker game in New York. And one of the guys at the table, he was like, yo, my dad's starting this fantasy baseball league, and he's looking for people and blah, blah, blah. And I had played, I was a big sports fan, absolutely, my entire life. And I played some fantasy, like in, probably like junior high to high school, like in that realm, because a friend of mine's dad was into it. But so I joined that league, and then I started like following, on the website and reading the articles, and, you get them, back in my day, Carla, we used to go to the newsstand and we used to get a fantasy magazine. And so we would like, I would like read all of that. Yeah, you do it. So, so, I mean, it was just kind of like, I was like reading all of this stuff, and I was like, all right, listen, you got to get your shit together, Bender. Like, you're not going to tend bar for the rest of your life. And, I had already had, it's kind of funny, my relationship, the woman I was dating in like, for like 2 years, like right around like 97 through 99, or in that realm there. She's my wife now, but we dated we broke up, and that was when I was kind of like, I gotta get my shit together here. Is this really what I want to do? So, I'm like reading all of this stuff, and I'm like, I am an educated man. I was supposed to be a lawyer. I like took the easy way out and screwed around and, you know, played around as an actor and a comedian, but I was basically just, I was like tending bar and just kind of having fun. I was touring with the band Fish just to go and like, see all their shows and stuff like that. And so I was like reading these articles and I was like, I'm winning the leagues. I'm reading these articles. I can write this stuff. Like I could do that. And I started to, I started up my own blog and I would send links to, to all the managing editors that I would see in the magazine and stuff like that. So it was kind of like, I'm not going to tend bar for the rest of my life. I need some sort of a job. I love sports. I play fantasy sports. I can write fantasy sports articles. And so, like that's how it all kind of began, freelancing and working through and stuff like that. It was like, and then I kind of like backed into radio. I was in college and I was I was a DJ in college that was, just spinning records and stuff. But, so then I sat there and like I would do a weekly segment and I started bugging my program director. I was like, dude, I can do a show on my own. Let me do a show. 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 And I was just super persistent about it. And I was guest hosting and filling in all over the place. So it's like, that was like my inspiration for my writing is Bender, you got to get your shit together. You can't sit here and screw around for the rest of your life.
Yeah. So that's really awesome.
That's where it is. And so I write sports. I write football. I write baseball. I write about, players that I like and I write about players I don't like. So
it seems it energizes you. It energizes you, not exhausts you. Yeah. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you, Howard.
And so you were just kind of like one day, hey, I'm pretty good at the sports betting stuff and writing and, it just click one day. Is that going to happen to me?
Well, you know what it was? I mean, the internet, like at that time, the internet really blew up fantasy sports. And so like getting in at that point, I mean, there were guys, I mean, when I first started, I mean, it was like Todd Zola and Jeff Erickson and Lorne Michaels, like, the old guard, the guys like, Peter Kreitzer and Ron Chandler. And these guys were all, they were doing it and they were the ones who kind of paved the way for like actually like, reading about it. It's like being a sports writer, but with like that kind of that edge about you're in a competition here as well, kind of a thing. And so it happened to me and the timing was just absolutely perfect for me. And, I feel incredibly lucky and blessed that, the hard work, paid off, the diligence paid off because, I'm a 20-year, vet of this industry right now. That's been paying my bills.
That's awesome.
So the people that you just mentioned, did like any of them like kind of like take you under their wing, or were you just kind of like jumping in yourself?
I mean, I started jumping in myself, but so when I was over at I was working for RotoWire for a little while. They were one of the places that I was freelancing. And Jeff Erickson, Chris Liss, Todd Zola was like, he wasn't working for RotoWire, but he was a contributing author over there. He was doing his own thing with Masters Ball with like him and Lorne Michaels and that kind of like OG crew. They were always super welcoming to me. Like, Lorne Michaels and I mean, we talk, Lorne Michaels and I, we talk music a ton. We did when he was alive, rest in peace, Lorne Michaels. But, he was like one of the only people I knew who also smoked weed. So I was like, well, shit, finally, I found my person here. And so Laura and I, we'd be like at these conferences, we'd go out to the parking lot and we'd start puffing, then we'd start talking. And, and that was like, and like, it was that kind of, so I was like, all right. So, I'm like meeting like people. Todd Zola is amazing. Todd Zola is he's like one of the nicest dudes ever. Super snarky, like everything that you would possibly hope for. in a person. And I always I watched how Todd did everything. Todd's a lot more analytical than I am. I'm more of the entertainment aspect, and Todd's like the dude, I know my math
Yeah.
kind of a thing. But like I blended it all from like, different things that I knew from like each one of these guys, and I just realized that it was like your best bet is to just be who you are. If you're an asshole, be an asshole and try and make it in that realm. But if you're like, a nice guy, or you're sarcastic or whatever, I mean, that's got to be part of your thing. You have to put as much of you into it as you can. It's not like I'm not like, I mean, you've met me, Wendy. We sat, we hung out. Like I'm no different here or on the radio or anything like that than I am in person. I try to, just kind of keep it real. Ugh, I can't believe I just said that.
You were more than I was expecting in real life. I mean, I just listened to you on the radio, and that's my commute home. By the way, is listening to you every night.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, and I'm just like, I really like this guy, and I didn't want to be disappointed. I'm like, God, what if he's not who he says he is? But you are exactly who you are.
I try.
You do a good job.
I try.
Howard, as a host for SiriusXM, you are with Jim Bowden. How did this happen? How did the both of you happen? Did you come like at the same time to work together, or did you make it happen? How can you tell me your
Yeah,
story?
because it's surreal that I'm like sitting here. Like Jim Bowden, for me was always the guy who traded Paul O'Neill to the Yankees for like a song like Roberto Kelly, and that like helped the Yankees like win those championships over the years. So that was like how I always knew who Jim Bowden was. But so what happened was I took over the drive time radio show at Fantasy Alarm. Jeff Manns was working over at Fantasy Alarm, and he left to go to Fantasy Guru, and so he was doing their whole like the elite thing that the old site was called like Guru Elite, and now they just said screw that, just made it Fantasy Guru finally. So Jeff used to be over at Fantasy Alarm. He left, and so I went into the drive time spot, and so we didn't have another co-host. There wasn't anybody else who was really on the team at Fantasy Alarm that was radio experienced in any way. So we started playing around with like different co-hosts, and and first there was Dave Lochran. He was one guy who was Lofty was one of the co-hosts. Real Talk Raph from Rotoballer. He was another guy who co-hosted with me. And then it was just because we were just trying to like find the way and see where the chemistry was. And then Jim was doing a show in the mornings called the GM and the Co-Mish with Craig Mish, and they were doing like that morning show. And Craig and I worked together a bunch, and we knew each other. So he connected the two of us, and then Fantasy Alarm asked Jim if they would come and co-host. So he started co-hosting with me, and it all just kind of clicked, and all the bits worked. And Jim and I we just vibed well, like kind of a. Like, here's one of the things, like, and I was talking about this on the show today with Jim, because I was like, I can only imagine. I was giving him some shit on the show, just kind of, busting his chops like I always do. Cause that's, I'm a New Yorker, right? That's how I show love. If I'm not giving you a hard time, then maybe there's something wrong. Like, I mean, that might be it. So I'm like busting Jim's balls today. And I was just like, welcome home, buddy. Because I'm like, he goes out and he was like doing all the World Series and MLB playoff coverage, and like he's Jim Bowden, for crying out loud. So I know that like everybody who's working with him and everybody who's there, they know him as Jim Bowden, GM, blah blah blah. And so there's all mad respect, and there's reverence, and probably some intimidation of talking to him. And then he comes back to me, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever, dude. That doesn't. How'd your fantasy baseball team do? Oh, last place. Okay, great. So. Like, and he doesn't, I don't think he was expecting that at all. And so it kind of like, that's really where it like took off. Like, he was like, oh shit, all right, this dude's got a sense of humor. This dude's like, he's good to go. And I realized also, I was like, he's not some stuffed shirt who's like out there. Jim is a funny dude. And if you get to know
Right.
Jim Bowden, like it's crazy. Like, I mean, it's really, he's a very genuine, great guy. And like, that whole thing, he can be formal when he's doing MLB, but when he's doing Fantasy Alarm, like you see, it's a different Jim, and you can tell it's a different Jim, which I dig. I love it. I think that's kind of why we gel so much.
It's a really great show. Even the Shandy Capper. I love her. You guys have really converted her to a sports fan here.
No, 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 no. So Shan was always a sports fan. What Shan does, like, she started working on the show, and then I immediately went to the program director, and I was like, I want her as my producer all the time. Like, I was like, because we were getting like mixed and match and stuff like that. Like Justin Fensterman was our producer for a while. Sandro Anello was our producer for a little bit. Like, we had all these different people, and as soon as Shan worked the show for the first time, there was something about her. I knew that she was the fit. And the best part, I mean, she's been a sports fan the entire time. We've definitely helped her with fantasy, and she's like playing different fantasy leagues and stuff like that. But she brings an element to the show. I mean, you think about it, like, you guys can Google Jim's age if you want. He's older than I am. I'm 52. Shan's 26. So she like helps like bring that whole youthful kind of thing that helps us. In all honesty, I think it helps us connect with, different, age groups, what it is, it's not just the old timers that are listening to us. It's like the younger people as well. And we get these like, different ideas. Yeah. Oh, our show. I mean, we were like, we were down here and then we went to here, and then Shan started, and we're like all the way up top. Like, I mean, she puts us
The
over.
wheel of randomness. Yeah, it's
good.
just it's also good. I've kind of noticed that you've built this crew around you, and I'm not saying they're handpicked, but they're probably pretty close to handpicked by you, Howard. But Britt Flynn, Andrew Cooper, Kevin Tompkins. Shan, I mean, you're kind of putting these people together for a reason, I feel.
I mean, the team is unbelievable. The team is just absolutely, it really is. I will say, so I built the original team that was like John Impemba and James Grande. Dan Malin is part of that. Justin Vreeland, like that group there. Impemba actually introduced me to Coop. Coop and I we started talking a little bit, and then I met Kev Tompkins, and then I met Britt, and I was just like, yeah, I mean, you see people, you meet people, you just, there's like a vibe about them. I'm very much a what's your vibe kind of person. And it's not just, people who I'm working with. I mean, listen, you have to, if you're working with me, because I don't say working for me, if you're working with me, you got to pull your weight. You got to bust your ass. And your first, if I say I need an article, can somebody help me out with this? And I need this article done. Like, your first question should be, when do you need it by? Not how much am I going to get for doing this article? Like that, like you'll get paid, and we're building something, in that realm. But like, if your first thought is like, how much am I making? Well, you're in the wrong business, because there's not a lot of money in content creation. There really is not. And that's the way it is. It's a super saturated market. So we pay a very competitive wage and rate for, our content and our articles and stuff like that. But, it's like the core members of the team. Those are the people who are like, I just want to do this. I love doing this. I love being a part of this, like that kind of thing. And like, those are the people, when they happen, like, I want to latch on and don't let go. Like, that's just kind of the way I am.
They kind of become family more than becoming a team.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I know. I was so excited. I mean, one of the first people that I met at the party on Friday at the expo was Britt. I was I was looking for her because she was very instrumental in anything I've been doing in this fantasy football thing. So I found her, and we were sitting there talking, and all of a sudden, and I got to meet Kevin, and all of a sudden, Britt goes, Andrew Cooper's here. And I was like, get the hell out of here. I couldn't believe it because he wasn't supposed to be there, So I was kind of a little disappointed because I wanted to meet him, And she grabbed my hand and we ran over and I got to meet Andrew Cooper because that lightning round crew, that's kind of where I started watching the YouTubes was with them.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, great group there. Absolutely fantastic group. And, and everybody brings, like a different element to the table, which is also like, that's the other thing is that I like how people are very complimentary to each other. Right. It's not one, you don't have one person who's like dominating and standing above everybody else. Everybody's like, we're just, we are a group. We're a unified group. And I think that's, it's like, that's, keep your ego in check, you don't look what we're doing here. It's you gotta understand. I mean, this isn't neurosurgery. I'm not curing cancer. I'm entertaining is what I'm doing. And that's the other thing also. You have to, people need personality too. Like
Yes.
Nobody wants some like boring fantasy analyst being like, you can look at the player's ADOT and see that he is going to be a very good wide receiver for PPR. Like who wants that? Nobody wants that.
Never do that again.
Did that worry you? Did that scare you? Right, it's like NPR Bender here, right? So I mean, so Coop, very funny dude. Britt Flynn, very funny lady, very smart lady, very talented voice.
Yes,
the voice is ridiculous, right? I mean, Impemba brings all sorts of stuff to the table as far as that goes. So really weird that he hates condiments. I still don't understand that one, but like everybody's just got their own thing, and that's like, I love that. You hit the nail on the head, Carl. It's family, and that's it's kind of like that's our tagline, right? You can't spell family without FA, fantasy alarm.
Yes,
so,
I agree.
I came up with that. Thank you.
Good for you, Howard. What is something that you wish you could change about your industry? And if there's something that you would like to change, what are you taking steps? What's the steps you're taking to make that change?
Well, I mean, we are definitely, as I'm sure you two know, we are very underrepresented as far as women go. We're underrepresented for women broadcasters on the on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, and there's a very limited, I mean, it's
see, well, you have Wendi.
Of course, I just assumed you two are obviously in that mix. I'm just like, so it's kind of weird. Like the catch-22 is there's something about the trolls that I like, because they keep everybody on their toes, right? Like, I mean, it sucks sometimes when they're like, when they're pestering you about takes and stuff like that. But like a handle on Twitter or X, whatever we call it, called Fantasy Receipts. Like everybody was like, oh, I hate it so much. You know what, dude? Not everybody is always right. You're gonna make mistakes, and if they're gonna call you out on your shit, then let them call you out on it. Like, who cares? It doesn't matter. Like, if anything, give them a reason to not do it. Be better. Show improvement if you can. Like, that kind of thing. I embraced that whole thing of like, when I was freelancing on Fangraphs, and I gotta tell you, man, nobody is crueler than the fantasy baseball hardcore stat nerds. Oh my Lord. They didn't get me at first. They really didn't. And so they would jump on me for my lack of analytics. And it was crazy how nuts it was. So, like you need that. You need to thicken your skin. You need to accept the fact that somebody's always going to crap on you, no matter how good you might be. Somebody is always going to be jealous of your success, jealous of what you're doing, and unhappy about their own lives, that they're going to make themselves feel better by crapping on you. You accept that as being somebody who is, you're putting your stuff out there. You're putting out, it's not just you're not just putting out your takes on fantasy or football players or anything like that, because you're putting like your heart and soul into your work. So you're really opening up yourself to people. And so when the trolls come at you, it feels like crap, right? But if you realize that, like, it just kind of helps you be a better broadcaster, writer, funnier person, whatever it might be, like more entertaining, like that, like, so you embrace that. So, so I think it really sucks that we have so many assholes in this world who will crap on a fantasy analyst or a football analyst, or whatever, because she's a woman. To sit there and say it and just to expect that
people are mean, man.
It's
mean.
unbelievable, right? It's like you could say something, you could mispronounce somebody's name, and they'll destroy you for it. And they'll destroy you for it, and only simply because you're a woman. And I think that that's horrible. Like it's because I've always been, I mean, at Fantasy Alarm, when I took over there, I was like, we need, Brandon Marianne Lee. I brought her into the Fantasy Alarm family, wanted that to happen. Jen Piacenti, started with Fantasy Alarm. She was like in the Gotham Fantasy Baseball League, but she wasn't working in the fantasy industry. So I mean, we brought her into Fantasy Alarm, and look at her now. She's crushing it for Sports Illustrated. She's super popular.
Amazing,
she's
and just
great at
nicest,
what she does.
Yeah, and so nice.
Oh, so nice, so nice. And and so now Britt Flynn here also. To me, I honestly, I don't care if you're a man or a woman or however you identify. It doesn't matter to me. If you put in the work and the work is good and you are, on time with your assignments, you're, whatever, like, I don't give a crap what you are. I will bring you into the family.
And who cares if you make a mistake? I mean,
it's probably on the big scale of things, it's probably a very small percentage of those trolls. But because there's so many good people in this industry, I mean, everybody, I have not had really any bad experiences. I'm very fortunate, but you've always been very inclusive of women, Howard. I've noticed that too. How would you say that the industry has changed in the last 5 years? Do you see it getting better?
I see it getting a little better. I don't know. I mean, there are certain things, I mean, there are certain, the problem is that this is an industry riddled with like old white dudes like me, right? Like, I mean, it's like a horrible way to put it, but we stuck in our ways, different upbringing, not thinking about certain things. Like, I know that there are, things that are, inclusive and things that seem like forced inclusion kind of thing. And that's, so it's tough. I mean, it's a slow process. It shouldn't be that slow of a process, but it is a slow process. And I mean, let's face it, we are not a society that is built upon sensible behavior. I mean,
Sure.
look at all the mistakes that we've made over the years. I mean, it is just, it's something, and it moves so slowly. And I mean, it's like, it's sexism, it's racism, we move at a snail's pace. It's like evolution. Right. But, for personalities and mentality, and, I mean, I wish that everybody would be better. Listen, I ain't perfect either. There's shit that I say where my wife's like, dude, what did you just say? I'm like, oh, what?
Deborah calls you out.
My wife calls me out on my shit all the time. And that's why one of the main reasons why I love her so much is that this woman challenges me every step of the way. So
that's nice.
Well, when you reached out to me when the Battle of the Sexes was starting, you're like, hey, my wife wants to play. And I'm like, Heck yeah, we will find room. And then you were just like, hey, why don't you and Michael come on the show and promote the Battle of the Sexes? Because you liked the idea that we had of, men versus women and the battle and, the charity aspect of it. And honest to God, our entries went up by 50% after we went on your show.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so I'm hoping, next year that you'll let us come on again. But Scott,
Oh no.
hey, you're in my division. Oh, and I just have to mention somebody's in first place in that division that might be in this room. But anyway, yeah, look around. But I noticed that Deborah is a Giants fan, correct?
Correct.
And you are a Jets fan.
Correct.
So, are there kind of bets between the two of you when those two teams play?
There are always bets between the two of us. Yes, an assortment, a cornucopia of stakes, if you will. Right? Some that benefit her, some that benefit me, some that benefit both of us. It's just like one of the things. I mean, like when we were living in New York, we would go to the Jet Giant game every year, like it did preseason or in season, and it was a the loser had to like carry the winner back to the car, like piggyback.
Did you carry her a lot?
Carried her every time. Every time that we went, I ended up carrying her 100%.
So that means
good.
Jets lost every time that you went, or you were just a gentleman and carried her anyway?
Oh no! They lost every time. Are you kidding? I was dying for the times. Like I'd like sit there and I would like bring like I'd like get like a giant water bottle or something like that from the concession stand. So in case I still had it with me, she'd have to carry me home with like all my like I would weight myself down throughout the entire time. I would eat
all this change in your pockets and everything, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then I would eat like there was no tomorrow, just to add on, see how much weight I could gain right there to have her carry me down.
And then it didn't work out for you too well, did it?
Never.
Do you know that the coach from the Jets, he's from Lebanon?
Yes.
Is that where Robert Saleh is from?
It's where I'm from.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
He's Lebanese.
Cool.
So he's from the same country that I'm from. I didn't know that before, but now I know. So
very nice. There's a Lebanese restaurant that we do takeout from all the time. The kibinai is amazing.
Really, the kibinai is
California,
the best.
right?
The best. It's like beet with like it's not cooked, Wendi. You should try it. The kibinai.
Wait, say that again.
Meat, not cooked.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yum.
So good.
See, ask Howard. He tells you.
I'm not listening to him. He didn't like the crab Benedict at Samantha's.
Oh my God! How do you guys like seriously? So yeah, this whole we'll bring it out here. Wendi and Kevin Tompkins and myself and Scott Frankel. Happy birthday, Scott Frankel. We go out for breakfast at the Expo, right? We're in Canton, Ohio. It is hot in Canton, Ohio. We are landlocked. And what do these two do? Her and Kev, they order the crab Benedict. I'm like, like, yeah, Ohio.
Hey, that Ohio crab kicked
Ohio
ass.
is well known for seafood, right? Oh, gross. Like, I could not even believe that.
I ate all of it. It was delicious.
You and Kevin did too. You guys were both like, "This is the best thing ever. This is great." Blah, blah. I was like,
"Hey, I didn't eat the potatoes, okay?"
I didn't eat the potatoes.
You should have eaten the potatoes. Get that starch to like kind of push that weird crab meat.
Howard, if you had to describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be?
Ooh, that is 3 words.
Maybe 1 word if you don't want to describe.
No, I'm good. How about loving, funny,
Good writer, maybe.
Nah, that's no good. Um, Slightly misanthropic. How about that?
Oh.
Right? I mean, I love everybody. I never want to have beef with anybody. And I've always kind of been that way. No, not always. Like when I grew up, when I woke up in this world and realized that my early stages of life and whatever were all a precursor to like really who I am as a person. And I don't
Yeah.
really think I hit that until probably my like super late 20s, early 30s, is really kind of when it was like that. But, you know, so my earlier points, I mean, I would, I'd be a hothead. I'd get into fights, stuff like that. Now I'm like, it's so pointless. It's so useless. And so, I always kind of like talk, everybody down off of that ledge of doing that. So I do. Yes, I do think I'm funny. I know you're not supposed to say something like that, but I do think I'm funny. I also
I think
think that
I'm funny too.
I'm a loving person, but I see so much in this world that I'm like completely misanthropic also. Like I can be a loving person, but man, I hate people sometimes. I really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. I can get that point, especially with everything that's happening with the war and everything that's
Oh,
happening.
jeez,
I can get your
Louise.
point. I can get it. Yeah. I agree.
So,
I
do
agree.
you play a lot of DFS, Howard?
Every week.
So, do you do baseball during the baseball season? Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
So,
I try to, it gets a little tougher during the baseball season. It's just, I mean, it's like a steady grind. And, the problem that, with the radio show being on from 5 to 7 Eastern, right? Like it's like that hour before lineup block that you need that hour before lineup block to kind of tweak certain things. So I'll play DFS baseball on the weekends when I don't have a radio show to do. Or if there's like a morning slate, in the middle of the week, maybe I'll play that. But I play it a couple of days a week for baseball in season, and then I play all the time for NFL.
well, I have to mention because I'm a Cubs fan. How do you feel about the Craig Counsell hiring?
Did the Cubs hire Craig Counsell?
Yes.
See, I'm like so neck deep in football. I don't even know these
Dude, this
things.
happened yesterday. They paid him $40 million. He's the
Wow.
highest paid manager ever.
He did a good job with the Brewers, though,
I
when he was
know,
over
but
there.
you know what? As a Cubs fan, I'm trained to dislike him strongly. And
Oh,
now he's
yeah.
coming to my team, and I gotta like him now. So
I can understand that. That's when Wade Boggs was when he left the Red Sox and he came to the Yankees and he won the World Series and he was like riding on the back of like a police horse in the outfield. I was like, I hate him so much. I hate him so much. So I'm with you. I
yeah,
get that.
well, I feel that the Cubs are going all in. If they're paying this guy $40 million to come and manage their team, they've got to be able to put some more money out. I'm
Damn. Wow.
big free agency
Just
signing.
got steamy in my headset here. Whew. Whoa.
Who is the real tight end whisperer, you or Coop? Lonnie's asking.
Ah.
Uh-oh.
I'm the OG tight end whisperer. Like I've since passed the baton to Andrew Cooper, who they refer to him as the tight end whisperer. But yeah, so in 2016, I remember it so well. I was I ended up I said to everybody for like the first week of DFS, I was like, you want to get Austin Hooper into your lineups. And everybody was like, really? I was like, yeah. You want him in there. He ends up with like a couple of catches for like 124 yards and a touchdown, because he like caught this like really like broken coverage, and he caught like a 60-yarder or something like that. So he had this amazing game. And then so the next week, everybody was like, who's the tight end that we want? And so I was like, all right, well, here's a guy who I hate in regular fantasy, but you want to use him because of the matchup in DFS. And that was Eric Ebron of Detroit. And then all of a sudden, every single week, I picked a tight end who scored a touchdown. Now, not everybody had like a ton of yards. Like, you know, sometimes I would just rely on good old Tyler Higbee back in those days when he was like Mr. One Catch for 8 yards and a touchdown, right? And I'd call it the Higbee special. But every week up until week 15, I remember the tight end. I don't even remember who the tight end was that I picked for week 15, but he didn't hit. And I was very sad. The streak came to an end then, but ever since that time, it's I'm the tight end whisperer. So I have since passed that on to Coop, though. He can have it there, Bonnie. But yeah, I'm the real one.
You're the real one. Howard, I have a question for you. If you can have a dinner with any football figure, who would you have dinner with, and what would you talk about?
Oh. I would probably, you know what? Like, here's the weirdest thing about this. Like, I'm going to say Aaron Rodgers. And I get it. It's like a, but I'm not seeing Aaron Rodgers as like a fan. I'm seeing Aaron Rodgers as a, I've picked up certain vibes off of him based off of like, interviews I've seen and things that I've read and heard, and, and then, it was like, the Jets on Hard Knocks this year. Like, Aaron Rodgers has a cool vibe to him. Like, this whole like Dayton, Blue Elf or whatever her name was from, like some, thing. But like the Darkness Retreat, trying out ayahuasca and seeing what that does to open your mind. It's like, he's like a Northern California dude. I mean, he's like, so I feel like there's just like there's a vibe to him now, because I think that there is Aaron Rodgers, the person that everybody just sees on like just interviews and stuff like that. And then there's a real Aaron Rodgers that kind of hides away from the fact that he's like the big football star kind of a thing. I think it's weird. It's, so it's like, I would love to like sit and just talk to him and not talk football at all. Like, talk about everything else that he digs. Like, what are the other things? Like, how, do you dig going to like Burning Man? Are you into like holistic medicine and, things like that? Will your Achilles be healed by ruby quartz crystals?
Is this guy gonna play this year, Howard?
I don't know. My gut says no, but I would love to be wrong.
Well, it's kind of like the Hard Knocks curse or something, isn't it? I mean, it seems like, and you know what? I hate Hard Knocks only because it made me not dislike Aaron Rodgers anymore. I did not like him, but I watched him on Hard Knocks. I'm like, God damn it. I like Aaron Rodgers now.
Like, what was the coolest part for me? It's so funny. The coolest part for me was when Liv Schreiber came to Hard Knocks. And like Rodgers is like, oh, voice of God, blah, blah. But Rodgers going around to like everybody else and asking them, like, did you talk to him? Did you talk to Liv Schreiber? Did you like all he wanted was for like the guys to not be starstruck by him and like welcome him in. And so he could like feel that kind of like that warmth, that vibe, because you could tell that Liv Schreiber was completely starstruck meeting Aaron Rodgers. Like, you could tell. And Rodgers just wanted to put him so much at ease. And that's a vibe that I dig. So, yeah,
I was so excited for you for the Jets this year, and it was just crushing that injury. And man, oh man.
Thanks, Wendi.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Howard, who gave you the name Rotobus guy?
I gave it to myself, actually.
Why?
I was so all right. So when I was up and coming, I was trying to like figure out like a website name, like a blog title, things like that. And everybody knows Roto. It's just the standard rotisserie
Yes.
for fantasy sports. And so it was like, that plus like news and something catchy. And so I ended up putting Rotobuzz together. And that was actually the name of like the first blog that I ever started was Rotobuzz on blogspot.com. And I was like, I was doing it and I was like trying to like turn things into, instead of just a blog, into a little bit more of like a website, like a WordPress kind of thing. So I could deal with like the pictures and the photos and everything like that. And it just became a joke with like me and my wife and my friends. Cause everybody be like, oh, how's the site, how's Rotobuzz? And I'm like, yeah, Rotobuzz guy's doing okay right now. And that was kind of, that was where it was. So it was like the New Yorker in me. It was like, hey, Rotobuzz guy, how you doing? Like that kind of vibe.
Are you sorry now though? Because you get tagged so many times. How do you answer? You answer everybody's questions. When they ask you questions on Twitter, I've never seen you not answer something. Your name is all over the place. Does that drive you crazy?
Yeah, it does. It does. And I've missed some. I'd probably say, I mean, it's kind of, I'm not going to say it's gone downhill, but I've definitely, so when I took over, when Jeff had left Fantasy Alarm, I wanted to show our subscribers the dedication and everything like that. And this was before, like, there was no Discord and there was no chat or anything like that on the website. So I said to everybody, I said, I promise you that if you ask me a question, I will answer it. I might not answer it in real time. I won't answer it immediately, but I will answer it. And yeah, like, I mean, for years, I would get thrown into Twitter jail because you couldn't exceed basically, like, I guess it was, yeah, it's like, like 2,400 tweets. You couldn't tweet 2,400 times more than 2,400 in a 24-hour span. Right. And because it's like in the fantasy sports realm, it was like, the same, it's always the same questions over and over again. It's always like each week, it's always the same questions about like the same 6 guys. Right. And so I'd just be sitting there answering all the questions, be like, Williams and Stevens, this guy and this guy, this guy and this guy, this guy and this guy. And I would go through it all. And then all of a sudden it would like, the Twitter algorithm was wondering if I was a bot. And then as soon as I got to the 2,400, they cut me off. And then I'd have to like, tweet from the Fantasy Alarm account, be like, yo, Howard Bender, Rotobuzz guy's in Twitter jail right now. So ask your questions here, and have to do it. And so I lived up to my promise. And now it's like, it's at a point now where I'm like, I would feel like, like I wouldn't want to abandon everybody. And I've had a ton.
We depend on you, Howard.
Well, and I've had a ton of people who are like, dude, you always answer my questions on Twitter. So I wanted to subscribe, to Fantasy Alarm and show my support, for all that you do for us. And so it's developed into that. But yeah, I spend way too much time on social media answering questions, way too much time.
I couldn't believe when you came up as somebody I might know on Facebook. I'm like, are you serious? Howard Bender has a Facebook page? You do that too?
Oh, dude, I do.
Instagram, TikTok, you got it all, don't you?
I do. I answer everybody's questions. And then it's even kind of funny too. Like, like all of a sudden, like weird, people will pimp me out. Like, it's kind of funny. My wife will pimp me out. Here you go. So we were going to we needed to rent a car. This is probably about a year or two ago. Right. And so she goes to pick it up, and the dude's wearing like a 49ers jersey. And she says something to him, makes a comment about fantasy football. And he was like, oh, yeah. Do you play fantasy football and whatever? And so she tells her, she's like, oh, let me tell you about my husband. And like, she like gives him the website, and he's looking at it on his phone and everything like that. And then she'll be like, well, hey, how about I just give you his cell number and you can ask him fantasy questions if you want. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, why didn't she get charged the extra $10 a day for the Sirius XM in the rental car? Oh, geez, what the hell?
Oh,
I'm
that's
like, so you
funny.
sold me out for like a Sirius subscription on a
That's what
rental
I do
car?
the same. Oh my God. I do the same with Doug.
Yeah, she's always saying, "Oh, ask Doug. Talk to Doug. He'll help." And Doug's back there
See?
going, "Shut up."
So Doug will have lots of emails and lots of people sending him messages, and he doesn't know like who the heck they are. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I just saw someone and I'm talking to them about fantasy football and they want to ask questions. So like, just ask Doug or. So I'm like so much like your wife, Howard. I'm sorry.
Oh no, listen,
I pretty
funny,
much forced you to give me your phone number.
Oh, I didn't mind doing that at all. Wow, it's so funny. So Doug and I are in a league together. We do the Huddle fantasy football auction every
Yes.
year. And ask Doug, there was one year. So the running joke every year was like, because my wife she would like be like doing the auction and she would like bring me food. And so I'd go into the chat and I'd be like, yo, wife just brought me dinner, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whatever. And then there was one year where she brought me food and I guess I like something happened that I knocked it all over, like me and the keyboard. And I was like, oh shit, blah, blah, blah. And I missed out on like 4 or 5 different players who were being auctioned off at the same time because I had to reboot the computer and stuff like that. So, but it's like become this like ongoing joke in the chat during that auction draft.
That's so funny.
With what's for dinner for Howard tonight during tonight's auction.
I asked him to tell me something. He didn't tell me.
Well, then thank you, Doug. I appreciate you keeping it between the bros, man. I like that.
He's gonna be in trouble right now. I'm gonna tell him that.
Yeah. I noticed today on your Twitter that you had posted about Baby Blaze. And Baby Blaze got it all clear on her scans today. That is, what kind of dog is that, Howard?
She's a wolf hybrid. We got her. She's 25% gray wolf, 25% husky, 25% shepherd, 25% Malamute.
Yeah, you could definitely tell has that wolf, but man, that is a pretty dog. Do you just have one dog? How many dogs do you have?
No, I got 3 dogs, 3 cats.
Okay, so you're definitely a pet person.
Oh yeah. Well,
I was so glad to see that though, because I know that Blaze is very important to your family. So I wanted to bring that up.
Thank you. I very much appreciate that.
Yeah. So can you tell people where to find you? Like, I don't even know, how many shows do you do? Do you ever take a day off? Do you sleep? Any of these things?
No. I'm probably going to do the DFS watch list right after this show. I'm going to like grab a snack or something like that. So, all right. So Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, Channel 87, Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern. Me and Jim Bowden on the Fantasy Alarm Show. I'm also on Sunday mornings, the Fantasy Alarm Sunday morning game day show on Sirius XM. That's at 10 a.m. That's me and Coop, 2 tight end whisperers.
Woo.
Let's see. And then just, I'm all over the Fantasy Alarm YouTube page, whether it's Alarm Fantasy Football or the betting show or a DFS show, NFL DFS. It's all over there. So just go to the Fantasy Alarm YouTube page, hit that like and subscribe button.
There you go.
Please. And so that's where I'm at. And then if you're a New Yorker, I'm in the New York Post every Tuesday and Saturday. Yeah, Tuesdays and Saturdays.
That's amazing. The New York Post. Hey, isn't that Drew that comes on your show? Does he write for the Post too? Drew Loftus?
Yeah, he's the fantasy sports editor. He's actually
okay. I like him, but you know what I miss? I miss the Flush or Crush.
Oh, right. We're doing now On Target instead of the Flush or Crush. We're doing the
I like that, but You're such a game changer, Howard. You've been doing this a long time, and you've helped so many people along the way, myself included. So we really thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This has been a pleasure. Listen, I love it. Anytime I can get like sit and hang out and not have to like tell you that, Taysom
Yeah.
Hill is not the tight end you want. Like, I appreciate that. So thank you so much for having me. It was great. Carla is the first time that we've gotten to chat. I'm sorry that I got dug in trouble. Not sorry.
Oh, yes. No, don't be sorry, Howard. I'm so happy you got him in trouble.
And before I have Carla announce our wonderful guest for next week, I have to give a shout out to my girl, Hope Myers. I know everyone knows who Hope is. Hope was on our show. She sent me this. I have to stand up and show you. Sorry, can't. Oops. Football. Bye.
Oh.
And it's even got the dolphin. Look.
Oh, yeah.
On there. I got that in the mail the other day, so I had to give her a shout out. So thank you so much, Hope. I absolutely love it. So Carla, can you announce our guest for next week?
Well, I want to say thank you to Howard for tonight. Thank you so much for getting Doug in trouble as well. I really do appreciate that a lot, not just a little bit, a lot. So next week it's I'm not sure honestly, Wendy, who's gonna be our guest.
I know who our guest is going to be, and I'm so excited. It is Miss Stacy Perez. Stacy Perez.
Oh, nice.
You booked her.
I'm telling you. I mean, I can't believe people want to come on our show, Carla. We're so fortunate to have all these game changers.
Yes, I'm so happy.
Thank you again to the Sports Affiliation. Thank you for JC. He's our guy behind the glass, and we couldn't do this without him. So everyone have a great evening, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much for coming. Good night.